Security, escort this gentleman out, please.
Come on, Soda Pop, let's go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Welcome back after a nice holiday weekend and summer. My name is Tony Burke. I live at 804 North Caleb Avenue. Over the summer, there's been many conversations and meetings that have continued in our neighborhood in Oakview with city staff, with the Browns, and the developers. Many of our residents are here tonight. Our goal as a neighborhood continues to be the same, focusing on what is best for the Oakview neighborhood, the property owners of Lacey Estates, the developers, and the city as a whole. With the most recent compromise proposal presented to the neighborhood, understand you may not have officially seen that proposal, we feel several issues are still not addressed. Density. Although developers propose 44 less units, there are 2 more buildings. Is this really less density? A graphical depiction of areas in Sioux Falls, which we'll share next week, visually shows the Oakview area has more apartments per mile radius adjacent to any elementary school than the rest of the city by a large amount. Is this good planning? Based on the Shape Sioux Falls plan, shouldn't we be planning growth equally throughout the city? Water. Although a detention pond was suggested in the compromise plan, the visual provided was a beautiful water feature. Many neighbors were offended by this rendering. As we all know, detention ponds are not water features. As well, no report on water runoff and detention has been provided to date. Traffic. We've yet to see traffic studies. As school started today, we have already seen anecdotally an increase in traffic. The Path Committee has also expressed concerns that Annie Sullivan pedestrian traffic has been on their radar for years without any measurable improvements. In the compromise, a proposed realignment of 6th and Bonson was presented. Is the city willing to put this in the budget this year? If no, when? And of course, safety. We do appreciate the increased presence of Sioux Falls' finest, and we're still seeing break-ins, speeding, etc. in the area. Overall, general safety is a concern for all citizens, and increasing density when studies are not completed is not good planning. And as far as the planning process is concerned, on several occasions, information was requested from the city on how to determine the compatibility matrix. To date, there has been no information shared on what questions they ask, what the scale represents, etc. In summary, we once again thank you for your leadership and your active listening to focus on the proposed rezoning. The compromise, which was supposed to calm concerns of the neighborhood, actually did the opposite and grew opposition quickly. Now, over 210 property owners, your neighbors, believe the best interest of all stakeholders, the Browns, Lloyds, and the neighborhood, is to vote down this proposed rezoning next week. In closing, as one neighbor said, and I quote, "If the council ignores the concerns of so many citizens and allows for the rezoning, they'll be setting a precedent as to whether any neighborhood in Sioux Falls is safe in regards to having input into shaping the area they live in. And that all citizens should understand that big money rules in favor of concerns of the average citizen." Thank you.
Tony, thank you. Tony, can I, folks, folks, I apologize. You can't do that, please. Tony, thank you. Appreciate it. Tony, I'm sure not everybody is planning on speaking tonight, but we would be interested. Who is here from the neighborhood? Just raise your hand, please. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thank you. Tony, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great job. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Meilenberg, and I live at 1209 South Jefferson, Sioux Falls. Tonight I want to remind you that we live in a democracy, and in a democracy people have a right and expect a right to vote and a voice. Since the American Revolution, Americans have passionately desired and fought for that right to vote. Many have indeed given their lives for that right to vote. Now the citizens of Sioux Falls are asking you to honor and support their right to a voice and a vote. Those of you who would consider denying citizens that right need to rethink your promise to the people and your oath to represent all the citizens. Please honor the veterans who have given their lives for the citizens' right to a voice and a vote. Please support for the people's right in a democracy, vote and support for the people's right in a democracy to a voice and a vote on the proposed administration building.
Thank you, Liz. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome, please. Or Commissioner Kolbe? Welcome.
Mr. Kolbe, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Stop the Funding drive, the petition drive just completed, was accomplished in almost record time.
Ma'am, if you could just introduce yourself to the
excuse
people
me.
of our town, please. Thank you.
Rebecca Dunn. Yes, thank you. The Stop the Funding petition drive was completed in record time. It was an uphill battle from the moment it started. We in Sioux Falls have seen this administration and its allies lock the gates of power to keep we, the citizens, out unless we could pay to play. We are seeing ever more expensive projects forced on us without a sound plan to pay for them. This office building and other abuses of the second penny sales tax will cause Sioux Falls to suffer for many years to come. Is this progress? Is this progressive? We are taking a big chunk of our street budget for the next 20 years for an unnecessary office building. J.R. Murray, a citizen of Sioux Falls, said, "I have heard the Stop Petition funding was denied. Well, petition or no petition, our city government knows what the voters want. Yet it sounds as if 3 or 4 people are making this decision. There are still military personnel losing their lives to protect the right to vote. It really does not seem fair that a few people can ignore all that is given for the vote and choose what they want and ignore the will of the people." Our petition drive was started and supported by citizens who request a place at the table with major decisions facing the city. It is our right based on the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. Rather than threaten our city's future on egos, we ask the City Council to demand a public vote on the bonding. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Appreciate it. Thank you. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Ms. Kolbe? Miss? Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bev Deutsch, and I am following and agreeing with the lady just before me. As a tax-paying citizen of Sioux Falls, I became aware that a large sum of money was going to be spent on a brand-new administration building. I became very passionate that something like this should go to a public vote. I spent countless hours visiting with people. I heard many stories from the people I met. Most people who signed my petition said, "Thank you for doing what you are doing. This needs to go to a public vote." Some people signed it because they are in favor of the new building, but it should still go to a vote first. The out-of-towners, many of them who drove quite a ways, were still in our district. They wish they could sign it because they believed it should go to a vote. The citizens are very concerned over this. They went out of their way to sign the petition. We even had a drive-up event where they drove downtown to sign the petition. The people also pulled off of Minnesota Avenue near 41st in rush hour traffic to be able to sign the petition and voice their opinion that it needs to go to a public vote. In all of our hours gathering signatures and talking to people, there is one common thread, and that is to be allowed to vote for this. This should absolutely go to a vote of the people. The people of Sioux Falls are excited to put this to a public vote to have more knowledge and a say in it, instead of the mayor and the council deciding on this very important issue by themselves. That's not a democracy. Please let the Sioux Falls citizens have a voice in this very important issue. Otherwise, what have we got for the future? The whole nation votes for everything, and that's what all we're asking on this. And thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Appreciate it. Welcome. Ms. Kolbe?
I see Manny Steele coming up, and I think I'm at least as good looking as him, so I won't let him come before me, Robert Kolbe. Anyhow, back to the issue. Many years ago, and some of us have gray hair and can remember when we had 3 city council members, and the old adage was you only had to buy 2 of them. Well, we progressed, city of Sioux Falls moved on. We had then 5 council members, and there were 3 to 2 was the way the vote, and then the local people would say, well, you had to buy 1 more than you used to have. And we've moved on to the strong mayor system. Well, I have a bias and prejudice, having served for a few years in a system where you had 5 people who represented the same constituency and each person had an equal vote. And I always look upon the city council and the mayor as being the checks and balances. One proposes something and the other one decides what to do with it and how to operate. There are several ways that you can operate as a city council. You can become like the Republicans in the Senate and become a Stonewall, or you can become like the Democrats in Texas and absent yourself from the meetings because nothing gets done unless there's a majority of the people sitting at the dais as you are here. So you have a choice. And if you chose not to show up for particular meetings, no business would be transacted. And if no business is transacted, that's a leverage point that you can use as a check and balance. You can also do things through Robert's Rules of Order. You might review such things as the move to adjourn, check that out, or to table an issue. You can either put a date with it, or you can leave it for infinity or in perpetuity. But it's a check and balance system, and that's what you're to do. And I would always advise, can't tell you how to do it and what to do, but I would advise that sometimes it behooves you to allow the opposition the choice to come forward and voice their opinion. It may not be your opinion, but their opinion is just as valid as yours. And if you are correct, you will come out as the winner in the end. If you are not correct, then you have given them the avenue that they need in order to make progress for the particular community. Anyhow, I don't want to belabor this. I would comment that the mayor has done a good job. We've had a librarian here in our community, Mary Johns, who for the first time in about 40 years, and I knew the previous librarians, for the first time in 40 years, we had a librarian that was progressive in this community. I'm sorry to see her go. Mary Johns was an asset to this community. And if you get someone who is half as good as she is, or was, you have done something as a kudo for the community. But checks and balances, that's what it is about, fair and equal. And in this political season, there hasn't been anything that I've seen that's been terribly fair, and there's not been much that's been terribly equal. But I would beseech you, each one, to take that to heart and say, if you do something, try to make it as fair as possible and try to give equal voice to all of the people who are speaking. Thank you.
Ms. Kolbe, thank you. Ms. Steele, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To return the compliment to Bob, if he's leaving.
Mr. Steele, if you could just introduce yourself to the people of our city, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Even though he does look quite distinguished with his goatee. Mr. Mayor and City Council, I'm Manny Steele.
Thank you.
And citizen of Sioux Falls. As a notary, I notarized thousands of signatures receiving this petition drive. I volunteered each afternoon for 2 weeks at the petition drive office. And on each sheet, stamped in the upper right-hand corner, was the authorization to use this form for the petition drive. So either the person authorizing this form knew what he was doing or was ignorant of the improper form being authorized. Either way, there appears to be gross negligence on the part of the person authorizing. I'd love to see this situation go to court because I believe it could easily be won in our favor. But due to the cost factor, so if there are any attorneys out there who would do a pro bono, I would like to visit with them. But now for my final point. Each of you are entitled to vote on this building. Of the 9 votes that are sitting up here now, 5 of you are for postponing the bill letting and 4 against it. If just 1 of the 3 of you that are for the bill letting changes their vote to a no, we would have 6 against, and the citizens would have the opportunity to express their feelings. If not, the mayor has the final say on the new building. So, Mayor, the ball is then in your court. And you can either lob it back and give the citizens an opportunity, or you can do an overhead smash it down their throat. I respectfully ask, Mayor, that you honor the wishes of our community. Thank you.
Mr. Steele, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome. Councilor Staggers, welcome.
Good evening. I'm Kermit Staggers,
Thank you.
citizen of Sioux Falls. I am honored to be standing before this new city council. Ever since May, when 4 new council members took the oath of office, this new city council has displayed greater independence and a commitment to the primary mission of the council, establishing policy. The best example of policymaking is the council's vote against the $25 million administration building. However, counteracting the council's majority vote was the mayor's veto. Counteracting the mayor's veto was the signature of 6,500 citizens on petitions that would allow a public vote on the administration building. As insurance to guarantee the citizens the right to vote, there is the proposed council ordinance to allow a public vote. I would hope that as members of the city council, that next week you would vote on a second reading for a special election to allow the citizens to vote yes or no on the administration building. Thank you.
Councilor Staggers, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You bet. Ms. Stenga, welcome.
Tim Stanga. First thing, I want to lift up Les Meilenberg's family. Keep our hearts and prayers and for him and his family. He was the security guy back here that sat back here. I just want to let everybody know.
Thank you, Tim.
Great guy.
Thank you.
Couple issues. People are starting to realize that the swimming pool is going to sort of look like the pavilion downtown. When we talk about that we're coming to a little bit of shortfall on money-wise that we figured that we'd get, it's getting to be that there's going to be more money put towards this indoor swimming pool than we figured. And it is a second penny sales tax, so I always tell people that if sales tax is down, second penny is going to be down, and that's where your roads mainly come out of, is second penny sales tax. It's always the people that are never going to come in this, go in the facility that have to pay the price. I've had a few people come up to me and ask me, how can you do a recall? Can you do a recall election? I told them, I said, that's a good question. I said, we might have to look into that. 6,500 people signed petitions. And the good part about it is, and I sat down, I talked to a lot of people that I took petitions with too. I can say there's 6,500 people. That's pretty much say that if anybody's gonna run for a higher position, that there might be 6,500 people voting against you.
Ms. Stinga, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Welcome.
Bruce Danielson, Sioux Falls. The end of July, we started a little project, and tonight I just wanted to talk about the little project of where thousands of volunteers circulated petitions signed by thousands of our fellow citizens. The 6,400 plus signatures are only a small part of the community who want to vote on this bonding. I want to take this time to thank the council members who are committed to our right to petition. You know who you are. And then to vote on these types of expenditures seems appalling to each of us. My real gratitude goes to the people of Sioux Falls. The outpouring of people that are behind me right now and throughout the community. The outpouring of support we receive from our fellow citizens reaffirmed my admiration for the process and for them. What can you say about 1,900 people who signed petitions in just 3 days? There was such an eagerness to drive to downtown Sioux Falls, and every 30 seconds we calculated people were signing. And if we would have had that open more, people kept calling me, asking me, are you going to do it again? And it was like, you know, there's only so much I can do in that time period. But when you think about getting 600 plus signatures a day, it's pretty amazing. And it shows you the pent-up angst that's in this community, and we want something done. They drove and walked out of their way to let you on the dais know they demand to be part of these decisions. Tonight, think about how great these citizens are for fighting to help all of us. Listen to their signatures. They are loud and clear. Vote to move the election to the second reading. I made a clerical error and it will be fixed. There will be more to come in the coming days. Some will be happy and some in this room won't be. Do the right thing tonight for the 65% of Sioux Falls and let us vote. You did it for the event center. You gotta do it for this. This is the first time in Sioux Falls history where we're gonna be voting. We want to vote on an expenditure of this kind. We've always voted for major expenditures as a city. Do it tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Danielson, thank you. Folks, like we did with the other group, I think it'd be important to just, if you wouldn't mind, if you're here for the advisory vote topic, if you wouldn't mind just, raising your hand. I think that'd be appropriate too. Just raise your hand, please. I know there's more than 5 of you. If you're, and maybe it's not, if you're here for the advisory vote, just raise your hand. Okay. Very good. Thank you. We appreciate that. Just to, we've not had repetitive discussion for the most part, so thank you. Just to kind of give the council some information, for those that are here to talk about the advisory vote, the discussion's been, money spent on the building could be used for other priorities such as roads. It should go to a vote for the citizen input, regardless in whether you're in favor of the building or not. There were people spent time and effort to not only sign the petition, but certainly to gather the petition. The council and the mayor should not have the authority to vote on everything. There was discussion about checks and balances and the importance of that between the executive branch and the legislative branch. There was discussion on the sacrifices of veterans. I don't want to minimize that. Discussion on the form that was utilized for the petition. We want to give citizens the opportunity to vote versus our elected leaders. It's kind of similar to the one earlier. And then there was just recently, comparison to the event center topic and how that was an expensive project and how this one is expensive too. So with that in mind, any other topics in regards to anything in the city of Sioux Falls, we welcome your input. Welcome.
Sierra, Sioux Falls.
Welcome.
Mayor, this is going to be some sensitive topics, but we have to disclose everything here tonight. As you well know, that the city attorney, Keith Allenstein, sent an email out to council on my arrest. That was a petty arrest, wasn't a DUI arrest. I do have a court date on September the 13th at 9 o'clock. Mr. Keith Allenstein never had a court date for his DUI. Second of all, I'm proud to be a transgender person, proud to experience that I experienced with the police department in police custody at the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Deputy Office. You would think that Minnehaha County Sheriff was against LGBT people. It's the other way around. I have 5 complaints on 5 officers for unprofessionalism. It's been a week and a half, Mayor. I have not heard from the captain of administration on this issue at all. I have left voicemails for him to get back with me for a letter of sustained or not sustained. If the city comes back and it's not sustained with the evidence that I have, we're either going to come up with something or I'm going to have to file a lawsuit on these individual police officers. LGBT is a big thing in the community. We do not need the city police and city government. When your identification identifies you as female, you call people he and he, she's. On top of other stuff that they were joking about within themselves, with 8 more inmates in the booking room at the Minnehaha County Courthouse. Mayor, I cannot stress to you, I have sued before in another state, and I will sue in this state. I will not face the police department being disrespectful. Whatever it says on that ID, if you're pre-op or post-op, you have to go by what it says here. Mayor, I'm asking you because you oversee the chief of police. I need that letter back to me with that investigation. They had supposed to got the videotape and the recording of what happened in that jail booking area. I supposed to get a letter. I have not gotten a letter. Keith Allenstein shouldn't even sent out an email because I have called council that day. The next day I got out of jail, and I called your office the next day. So I wasn't hiding nothing. So I'm proud, I'm actually proud to be arrested so I could see what it was like as an LGBT person to get arrested to see how Sioux Falls police treats the people. But Keith Allenstein had no business putting out that letter, which I will receive that letter and put it out to the public, knowing that underneath your wing, he would not be sitting there that he was sitting here right now. I will face Judgment Day, but he has not faced Judgment Day for his DUI.
Sierra, thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else want to engage the council on any topic? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Jay Rood. I live at 3914 East 3rd Street.
Welcome, Jay.
And council and mayor, I'm roughly with the Oakview group, but you know what? I learned a lot about my neighborhood. I'm kind of isolated. I live on 3rd Street, but we got Montgomery Court. There's 2 of them because it loops down and comes around. We got Savannah and we got Columbia. And them are only outlets. Only way we can get out of that area is we got to use 3rd Street, okay? And there's a lot of kids. And there's 3 places to cross. One's on Sycamore, one's on Bonson, and one's right by the library where they can cross to go to school. Washington High kids park pretty close to a half a mile long on the north side. there is no crosswalks from Montgomery, Savannah, or Columbia. Now, there's kids, both, that's a park. They play soccer, they got gyms and all that, Kenny Anderson and all that. They can walk all the way down there, that's fine. We're gonna load, by adding this other apartment complex, there's gonna be another 336 people, and that's only with, one child. Now, there's another apartment complex right across the street. I think there's 3 places to cross on Bonson. One is between 2 driveways. That's got the ADA ramp where they can go into the cross to go to the school. And that doesn't make any sense. Somebody wants to park their car when they get home or whatever, are they gonna sit there and partially block that crossing? Basically, I'm bringing up safety issues. When you dump more people in that little square box, which is Washington High, Kenny, Annie Sullivan, the soccer fields, all that, now you're gonna put another apartment complex there with that amount of people, and guess what? These kids are gonna have friends in my neighborhood. I'm pretty sure they will. And they're gonna be jumping between cars that are parked on the north side where all the Washington High kids park because they don't want to pay for their permits. And also they park down in Montgomery Court, and I don't know too much about the other areas, but when they're over full, there's one spot up there where city bus drops off. And then there's a bus stop right in front of where the apartments are going to be possibly. So, not trying to mess with our group, it just brought to my attention, man, we got to have some means of slowing that traffic down and let them kids cross and go to the park. Why would you have a park if you can't get to the park? You got to walk a half a mile to get there. So, and if they're little kids, granted, they shouldn't be over there unless their parents are there, but that's my issue, and it came to light because of Oakview. So, all right, thanks.
Mr. Rood, thank you very much. Folks, it's been a very good discussion, and it doesn't have to be over, but just kind of give you a flavor. The second reading for the neighborhood, Tony, as you know, is next week, and in a second reading, you actually have the opportunity to engage the council before they do their discussion on that second reading, so you're certainly all invited back for that. Like the majority of the people are here for that topic, and so I commend you for being here tonight, kind of packing the place about that topic. We'll see how that goes. I also counted about 7 people that are here for the advisory vote. That also could potentially have a second reading too, depending on what happens here tonight, and you'll have that same potential opportunity. If there's any other discussion on any topic, feel free to come forward, folks. It's a great opportunity.
Y'all come back now. Cheers.
What kind of morons run this outfit?